The stage looks beautiful.
All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to Metro Hall here on this Friday. And we're here today to talk about our impound lot and some of the improvements that we've been making over the past several months to get abandoned and wrecked vehicles off our streets. I recognize it's been a real pain for some folks out there, and I apologize for that. And hopefully you'll hear some of the programs coming out here today are going to be a big benefit for us. So over the years, many of our agencies, including LMPD, facilities, and Louisville Forward have worked with Metro Council and residents to find solutions to the complicated issues that have plagued our impound lot. And one challenge was that COVID-19 slowed and stopped auctions that in normal circumstances would help us get cars off of the street and into the impound lot, then auction, and off they go. But they were slow during the pandemic, like many things. Last December, Council approved a new amnesty ordinance that would allow us to waive fees and remove financial barriers that some people may have. I want to recognize Council President David James for being with us. Thank you for the council action there. We appreciate that. So far this year, we've had one amnesty period that resulted in the removal of 89 vehicles from our impound lot. So that opened up 89 new spaces. That was good. Today, we're announcing some new additional steps that we're taking to address this challenge. First, we continue to work with an auctioneer to help us move abandoned vehicles out in a more timely manner by holding twice monthly, regularly scheduled auctions. And as we work our way out of the pandemic, these auctions will transition from virtual to in-person. We've also contacted with IAAI for an auxiliary storage location that will help us address any overcrowding issues at our existing lot. Okay, so we've got more places to move vehicles. And to keep us better informed of the inventory on our existing lot, including make, model, the location of vehicles, and to improve and hasten retrieval of those vehicles, we've started barcoding each vehicle to increase our efficiency, give us the knowledge that we need. In a few minutes, you'll hear more about these efforts from LMPD Chief Erica Shields and LMPD Major Emily McKinley. We've also enhanced our Metro 311 app to include an option for users to report abandoned vehicles. So a picture of the vehicle and the location are all that's needed, and the report then will be routed to LMPD. So this is something, if you've been looking at it, it's bothering you, please take a picture. Metro Call 311 app will help get that off the road. So these are a couple of examples of our commitment to finding innovative solutions to our challenges, but we're not just moving vehicles. In order to improve the impound lot, we've planted trees and shrubs with the help of Trees Louisville and the state, cleared brush, and added overall features to beautify and mitigate any visual or security concerns. We've also improved the lighting and the fencing because people try to break into the impound lot. So a lot of different actions going on that we wanted to summarize here today. So to tell us more, I'd like to introduce LMPD Chief Erica Shields, whose team is taking the lead on many of these improvements. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council President, for being here and your support. I realize this isn't, as a topic goes, it's not the flashy toy in the room, but let me say this, it is a true safety hazard. And I'm very grateful that we're in a space that we're addressing issues that have plagued us from doing the level of enforcement that we need. When we have abandoned vehicles that are out there, there is nothing preventing kids from getting in them. We had a shooting earlier this week. There were several kids and a 13-year-old ended up getting shot inside an abandoned car. They just gone in there to play, and somebody had a gun with them. And so it's a true hazard for communities. When cars start to get stripped, people take the tires, the catalytic converter, goes on cement blocks. When you have children playing in neighborhoods, you don't need cars on cement blocks. When cars are left on the side of the interstate and it's snowing or raining, or a car hydroplanes and hits a car, that doesn't have the same give as guardrails do. So it is an essential part of our job duties to ensure that abandoned and wrecked vehicles are removed from the city streets. It's been a a beast of an assignment getting us to this place. And quite honestly, we would not be here without the efforts of Major McKinley. She's just dug it in and done a fantastic job. So I just want to say thank you, Major McKinley, for your hard work on this, and Mayor for helping us prioritize and get to this point. Thank you.
Yeah, let's hear it from Major McKinley. Also, I think we're recognizing too, look, we understand the blight that abandoned vehicles represent as well. And when things are not getting taken care of anywhere in the city, you just like thinking, man, I mean, can't the city government do better here? So while the pandemic was a problem, hopefully we're moving beyond that, and you're seeing a lot of improvement taking place there. So thank you again for your patience. Now, in December of last year, the city announced plans for a new LMPD auction lot located off 7th Street Road to mitigate the challenge of abandoned vehicles. And these steps we are taking now will help us understand the size of how many vehicles we need to deal with. And after we know that, we can assess what role the 7th Street property will play. Now, as mentioned, as the chief mentioned, we would not have been able to make all these improvements without the leadership of Major McKinley, who oversees the day-to-day operation and understands the challenges and opportunities. One of the things that we look for in a leader is the ability to manage projects and get things done. And sometimes it's not the sexiest thing to do, but if you can't manage a project and get things done, then it's just hard to be effective in anything, frankly. So, Major, I appreciate you taking on this major project and showing us how to get things done. Let's hear from Major McKinley.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Chief. And this isn't about me. I didn't expect all the accolades, but I appreciate the support. But again, this is thanks to the pressure from the public to have us recognize this problem, the support from council, the mayor's staff, and the chief to allow me and my team to address this problem appropriately. We know that we're making progress, and obviously this problem did not occur overnight. It's not going to be fixed overnight. This is a long-term project. This is a forever project, and this is something that we will continue to address and continue to improve as time goes on. So, since January of this year, LMPD has towed 267 abandoned vehicles from our streets. So that is good, because we were at a point one time last year where we were towing 0 abandoned vehicles. So in just less than 3 months, we've towed 267. So that is progress. Our goal is to tow even more. And I can't give you a number on that. My goal is to just be able to tow and move abandoned vehicles as they come. So to where we can never turn any abandoned vehicle down. If there's an abandoned vehicle and it needs to be towed, we always have the capacity to do so. So that is the ultimate goal. And as Mayor Fisher touched on, there's been several significant projects that we have implemented. They're all small projects. And the team that I have working for me and with me has done an excellent job in pushing these forward. So again, just to highlight them, we have a new auctioneer contract, and we are doing 2 auctions a month. Most of them are online. And one of the positive things with the online auctions is it allows for a larger customer audience. So we can even have customers as far as California and Texas or Georgia, and we have. So we've had buyers purchase vehicles from out of state. So a lot of these vehicles are not just returning to Louisville streets, they're going out of state. So that is positive for us. We've also advertised these auctions online and in our social media. So more people are aware of the auctions now, and we have a bigger audience with that. So that's a good thing. We've also contracted an appraiser to assess vehicles on our lot that are up for auction, vehicles that might not be suitable for use, but that can go to scrap. So we're scrapping vehicles as well when we can, and we are able to take those directly to the scrapyard. Again, we've contracted with IAAI, it's Insurance Auto Auctions, that's what that stands for, as an auxiliary storage option for us if we cannot store a vehicle at our lot or Suburban's lot. And we've improved advertising efforts for hiring of tow equipment operators. So we're hiring tow truck drivers as well. We've also improved our communication with the National Insurance Crime Bureau to ensure that insurance companies are aware of vehicles that are on our lot so that they can reclaim their property in a more efficient and effective way. We've improved security with a new fence, lighting, and the shrubbery that was discussed. And we've increased our proactive contact with owners of vehicles that are on our lot. So as stolen vehicles are coming on our lot, we are contacting owners to let them know immediately that the car is there. Again, we've reduced our number of criminal holds on the lot. That was one of the main problems, is a lot of our cars there were on criminal hold. So we've worked with the Commonwealth Attorney to reduce that number. We've reduced it by about 200 cars in the past few months. Again, we've talked about the amnesty ordinance, so that's another positive thing that's come with the help of council. And we've began the process of acquiring more advanced software to track and monitor our inventory. And then again, the 311 app is another positive way for the public to be able to report and share the concerns of abandoned vehicles. So these are just a few of the projects that we've implemented over the past several months. And thanks to all of your support in letting us get those projects underway. So, thank you.
Thank you, Major. Appreciate that. So remember, we're making it easier for you to come get your car if it's been towed, and we're working hard to continually improve the way we're doing business and get vehicles off roadways. And we also believe these measures assist in our whole of government approach to public safety, as the chief talked about. Getting abandoned vehicles off the roadways creates safer communities for residents and officers, and it certainly makes our community more beautiful as well. So thanks everybody for all the good work. We're not done, but this is an area where a lot of people are interested in, and so we wanted to provide this update today of all the good work done so far. With that, we're happy to take any questions.
When do you anticipate having another amnesty period?
Again, I need to discuss that with the Director of Public Works. They're the ones that can make that decision. And so that's something that I'll discuss with them and pick an appropriate time.
Major, can you just give us some of the stats? What's the current capacity at the lot? How many, what's your daily backlog? Just run some of the numbers for us.
So they're currently on our lot today. There's about 1,250 vehicles. So daily we're towing in about 30 vehicles a day, releasing about 15 to 20 a day. So you're adding, 5 to 10 a day or so. I know that there's several hundred abandoned cars in queue that we are preparing to tow eventually or addressing with officers. So that would be our current backlog.
Is the auctions open to the general public, and is there any directs to join in on the auction?
Yes, the auctions are open to the public. You can find the link to our auctions on our social media. So on Louisville Metro Police's Facebook page, there's a link to our online auctions, as well as our webpage. There's a link to our auction there.
Major, are you at a point where you're running out of cars that you can auction? So the ones I've been watching the auction for the last couple of months, usually you see 200, maybe 100. This most recent only has about 25.
Right.
I just don't know if you hit the dip where now you've got cars that are waiting to clear where you can auction.
Right, so that's a good question. The auction several months ago, a few months ago, did have up to, I think there was one that was almost 300 vehicles. That was a result of we hadn't had auctions for several months, so there was an extreme backlog at the tow lot at that time. We've since cut that down, and we've also worked very closely with Suburban. That's our third party contracted towing company. So Suburban has towed several vehicles as well. So the vehicles that are towed by Suburban are not auctioned by us. So that also has helped keep our inventory down and I guess created space for us to tow more vehicles to our lot.
How do you choose which vehicles in the queue to tow, like priority?
So when an officer, so each division has a division resource officer, and those are the officers that handle community issues generally. So when an officer or a beat officer can tag a car, so when they tag a car that they recognize as possibly abandoned, or maybe they received a complaint on this car as being abandoned, that vehicle must be tagged for at least 3 days before it would be eligible for tow. So the officer may receive the complaint, go address the vehicle, tag it, in return 3 days later, if the car is still there, it would be eligible for tow at that point.
So as far as what's left, like on the highways, what do you want people to know? Like if they get into a car accident, they can't get their car towed. Is like, should they try to at least move it to a safe space? Like anything for people who may be ready to leave an abandoned vehicle on the highway.
Right, and highway vehicles, so I talked about vehicle being left for 3 days. Highway, you have 24 hours to move your vehicle from a highway just because of the dangers of abandoned cars on the highway and the shoulder and wrecks and collisions and things. So obviously, yes, I would encourage you, if you have a collision or a broke down car, try to remove that vehicle from the highway as best you can, or call for a private tow, get it towed to your house or your service center. But it's best to get that vehicle off the road just for the safety of everyone.
I think you might have just touched on this, but like if there is a long queue with that 3 day period, do you then pick the greatest threat first?
Yes,
Okay.
or the most obvious, the cars that are on cinder blocks that there would be more dangerous for a child playing in the roadway and the car falling over on the child, or cars that are poking out into the road that might cause them bigger danger than others. So officers are going to recognize vehicles that are more dangerous than just a regular car that has been sitting there parked for longer than 3 days.
So just to be clear, that 7th Street Road, I think the Shively lot, that's not open yet, is it? Or is it?
No, sir.
Okay, do you have a timetable or kind of know where that stands?
No. So right now that was always a temporary solution, and we knew that we had to find a more permanent and more long-term sustainable solution. And so right now we've expedited that. We've worked very quickly to find that solution, and we haven't had to use that lot. And so the goal would be looking at this third-party IAA company that we now have on contract and our software company, using those options to see, do we really need to use 7th Street right now? And right now, I'm not using 7th Street.
We know how many cars are actually on the streets. I know that's been an ongoing question for a couple of years.
Like I said before, I know there's probably a couple hundred that would qualify as potentially abandoned vehicles. I don't have an exact number.
Okay, and then just to clarify on 7th Street, after we made that announcement in December, a lot of different companies contacted us with different solutions as well. So we've had different innovations take place. So we're going to see how all this comes together first before we make any further decisions on 7th Street. All right. All right. Thanks everybody for coming out, and have a good weekend.
Okay, you guys, that's it. We had the mayor, we had Chief Shields, and we had Major McKinley talking about the number of abandoned cars on the roads and the alternative solutions that they're coming up with, the increased number of auction cars that are hopefully being moved out of the lots. She said they're taking in 30 cars a day and only releasing 10 to 20, so that means they're adding 10 a day. There's about 1,300 cars on the lot right now. And it's a huge problem, as we all know, and as we've seen all over the city, there are a ton of automobiles abandoned, and they provide, not only hazards for drivers, but also for kids and many other things, potentially, road hazards as well as hazards for kids who are playing in abandoned vehicles. So, partial solutions presented for that today, and hopefully some things moving in the right direction. Thanks for joining us, you guys.